My name is Dor Krubiner, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mize. And in the past 10 years, we're building an AI revenue growth infrastructure for travel intermediaries. With our suite of solutions, we're currently supporting over 200 partners, generating $30 billion each year. But most importantly, it's what really makes us proud that we're contributing hundreds of millions of dollars in extra profit annually to our partners. I'm here to speak to you today about what we're calling the invisible loss and how to capitalize it. So you need to be a bit open-minded. Every day, millions of travelers are searching to book a hotel. They have the money, they have the intent, and they're ready to make a booking. But many of them won't. Now, it's not because they cannot find a hotel they want to stay in. It's because something that we are calling this invisible loss. So we've researched a lot why this happened, and we've managed to identify two massive market gaps that are destroying value across the entire travel ecosystem, which we aim to resolve. The first one, the availability gap, and the second one, the rate type gap. So let's dive in. The availability gap. Although rooms appear today as unavailable, many of them will become bookable in the future. What a massive inefficiency that is. It prevents from travelers to book the hotel they want when they want. It prevents from intermediaries to convert more lookers into bookers. And it prevents hotels to capture demand they might not be able to capture on later. Now, it can happen from various reasons. It can be because those rooms are held in allotments and are then released back to the market. It can be that those rooms are restricted for specific channels temporarily. Or it can be that the hotel is just full today, but tomorrow, when someone will cancel, it will become available again. It's a massive inefficiency, right? The second one, the rate type gap. We learned that travelers are seeking for different flexibility versus price than the binary one offered by hotels today. It might be that the refundable premium the hotel is charging is just too high. It might be the hotel is not offering a non-refundable rate at all. And it might be that the traveler is just seeking to get a more balanced kind of offer between flexibility and price, something like a partial refundable rate. Now, these market failures I'm presenting here to you, they're not technology problems. And they're also not supply and demand problems, right? The supply exists, the demand exists, but they cannot connect efficiently. So let's put travel aside for 1 second, and let's talk about financial markets. So financial markets face this exact challenge of supply and demand connection mismatch decades ago already. And they managed to solve it. If you think about it, if you want to trade a stock, there's almost always a counterparty to trade with, right? But how is it possible? So financial market invented something very smart. They invented market makers. Those are financial entities that are financially engineering supply and demand in places it doesn't naturally exist in the market. And the results are markets which are much more efficient, markets which are almost never sold out. And here's your breakthrough question. What if we could apply the same concept, the same Wall Street thinking into our Main Street travel? Could we maybe creating synthetic availability to better answer travelers' demand? Could we create new rate type to better cater to their preferences? And the answer is 100% yes. And here I am introducing to you Mize Market Maker, the first real AI travel market maker. While travel intermediaries are streamlining existing supply from one side to the other, we are creating it. And I'll give an example. When a traveler wants to book a hotel and their room appears as unavailable, Mize Market Maker will predict if this room will become available in the future. And if the prediction is positive, we will allow the traveler to complete the reservation into a synthetic room and then allocate it into a real one when the market really shows it as an available room. And by that, we will be able to solve this inefficiency. So to do that, we utilize AI technology to develop price, availability, and cancellation prediction algorithms to create this financial engineering of bookable supply and new rate types where the market shows none. And this will allow us, we aim, to solve some of the biggest inefficiencies in global travel. So to finish up, I would like you to imagine for a second a travel ecosystem where supply is automatically created in real time to match travelers' demand. When travelers can find their perfect personalized combination of price, flexibility, and timing, and where hotels can capture demand they could have not captured before. It's a much more efficient travel industry, isn't it? So we're going to start rolling this out in early 2026. It's going to be a journey. It's not going to be easy. We have a very big mission behind us. And we invite all of you to be a part of the new supply layer of the travel industry. Thank you for that. Thank you.
So, obviously a change maker, very different from what a lot of other folks have been speaking about here, but can you explain, so how does Mize really serve as the market maker in the model that you're describing?
So the analogy is really coming from financial markets because market maker roles in financial market is to allow parties or entities to transact where the market don't allow it. And this is exactly what we're doing. And if we go back to the example I gave in the presentation, we allow availability when it doesn't really exist, and we are able to accommodate that later on. So we are creating a market of our own. And I always try to explain this as if there is the hotel layer and the natural supply we have, we're building another layer up top of it, which is synthetic, right? Mm-hmm. But eventually, every synthetic rate or booking should be accommodated into a real rate or a real room in the hotel.
Right, so with that, you have to be very good with your predictions on changes, cancellations, all the dynamic aspects of that. So how do you guys, and you have a risk perspective on that. How do you manage that?
Yeah, so it's all about carrying risk. And some people kind of avoid risk. We are happy to take it because we believe it's what's going to keep us in the industry and what will allow us to grow as a company, right? Nobody wants to take risk. We're happy to take it on our side, okay? We see it as an advantage. With that being said, you need to be careful, smart, and especially not greedy, right? So we have proprietary data of in the past 10 years that allows us to see availability patterns, cancellation patterns, rate data patterns, and so on. We model that. And you don't need to create this synthetic availability for every time there is no availability. You need to provide it only when you're really sure that you can make this possible, both for the traveler and for ourselves as a company.
So is that more with peak demand periods or spikes or valleys or disruptions? Is that most of it, or is it more for the?
It's all of it. Like it can happen all over the year. But for example, I doubt if the market maker engine will try to underwrite a synthetic availability for the Destino Hotel in July in Ibiza. Okay? Probably not.
Right. So yeah, so it'd be more of a little macro view by the for the engine. So what happens if your predictions are off, though? Yeah. How do you deal with that?
So if our prediction is off, we need to pay, right? And when we manage our risk appetite versus how much transactions we would actually like to accommodate, we need to stick with industry standards, right? When we guarantee a traveler a room, we have to provide it, right? There's not much room for errors. But the way to actually do it, and you need to be very smart and very in the details, like in everything in life, right? But I would like to give you an example. It's much easier to guarantee a synthetic availability for a hotel, for a deluxe room, while there are other 4 room types available. Mm-hmm. Why? Because worst case, you will just allocate the traveler into the junior suite instead of the deluxe. It will cost you money, but it will have a room. But to create synthetic availability to a room, to a hotel, which is completely sold out and there's no other option, might be more risky. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm just trying to transfer how we actually think of things.
So, and there's been a lot of de-risking within the industry. I mean, that hotel brands have really wound up going asset light in terms of not having the real estate exposure. The hoteliers, and they hate when I say this, they love the OTA travel model because it's paid on delivered business. The economics are a little bit different question for them. So how does this change the travel ecosystem? Pretty dramatic change.
So there's three parties into all of that, right? There's the travelers, there's the intermediaries, and the hotels. Travelers get what they want, when they want, more than ever before. So we're good on that, right? Intermediaries, they're getting a search and they can accommodate a booking. So they increase in conversion, they're good on that. And hotels, they're gonna be really lucky because they're gonna capture demand they haven't captured before. Because if we had a traveler that wanted to book a specific hotel and it was not available, the traveler probably went to the competitor. Now they will be able to capture it. And by the way, when we're thinking about that, I think a very good example to show this concept actually working is airline overbooking, right? Airlines have been doing this for years. They're selling seats even when they are not available, right? So thinking about taking this concept, bringing it into the hotel space, but managing it not for the product layer of the hotels, but for the intermediaries.
Oh, very good. And we are out of time. Fascinating concept, and best of luck with it.
Thanks
very much, Dor.
Thanks so much.